Have you ever stood at the edge of a dream? Your heart is shaking, your hands are trembling, only to take a step back, not because the dream wasn't worth chasing, but because the fear of being told no was louder than the hope of being told yes. How many dreams of ours have we buried quietly because we wanted to avoid the stings of being told no? The stings of being told you are not enough. How much of our beautiful potentials have died in silence because we were too afraid to be wounded by rejection? What if I told you that rejection is not the end of the story? It is the ink that rewrites your next chapter. What if I told you that rejection and vulnerability are not your enemies? They are the map you need in the journey of your becoming. What if I told you that rejection is not the end? It is the raw material from which our resilience is born. What if I told you that there is a hidden power in vulnerability, even in the face of a drowning rejection? Good afternoon, BGYCC leaders. My name is BGYCC, and this afternoon I will speak to you about the power of vulnerability in the face of rejection. For centuries, we've been taught to believe that rejection is a sign of our inadequacy, and we've been conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. From an early age, we are told to be strong, to toughen up, to hide the parts of ourselves that seem too soft, too unsure, too human. We are taught to hide our emotions and our vulnerability behind a facade of strength because we have been taught to believe that exposing our flaws is an invitation to defeat. And in a world that glorifies perfection, we've been taught to believe that to be vulnerable is to be less than, only because vulnerability demands that we should show the fragile parts of ourselves we would rather keep hidden. In 2023, I was in my 4th year in the university when I dared to dream. It was a dream of venturing into academic writing. So one day, I took a leap of faith and I sent several academic writings I had written to top magazines for publication. But guess what? I was rejected not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. 4 rejections that were louder than an applause. 4 times of being told, I am sorry. We regret to inform you. 4 times of being told, unfortunately, your work does not fit into our current editorial demands. I was shattered by the constant rejections I faced. I let the fear of being rejected shrink my self-esteem and shatter my writing spirit. I held on to the words of my inner critic that said, you will never make a good writer. Your writings are laughable. They will always lack depth. But if I could turn the hands of the clock, I wish someone had told me, it is okay to fall, but do not let the fear of failure make you small. I wish someone had told me, it is okay to cry, to feel exhausted. You're not made of stone, but you do not have to give up. I wish someone had told me that there is strength in vulnerability. And vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but the quiet strength of being seen, of allowing ourselves to stand exposed even in the face of the world's judgment. I wish someone had told me to write that short story, to write that academic essay, to try because rejection is not a signal to retreat. I wish someone had told me to try because rejection, when faced with vulnerability, becomes a flagrant proof that you have the guts to reach for something, the guts to believe in something, the guts to stand on something, to show up unguarded. And in all of our imperfections, even when it feels the world might turn away. So I ask you this afternoon, what will the literary world be if J.K. Rowling had given up on her manuscript Harry Potter after it was rejected by 12 publishers? What will the basketball history be if Michael B. Jordan had not embraced the risks of uncertainty even after he was cut off from his varsity basketball team? What will living be if Thomas Edison had given up after his 999th attempt of inventing a light bulb? Remember, history has always been shaped by those who refuse to be quiet. The people who change the world are not those who never fall. They are those who dared to rise again even after they have been knocked down by life's challenges. Thank you.